Allahu Akbar.
In the exclusive.
Allahu Akbar.
Hayya ala salah.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Hayya ala salah.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Arise, giving all praise to Allah, Father of the universe, cherisher and sustainer of all the balanced universes. Extend the highest honors to His holy divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam. Extend high honors to his forerunner, the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, the founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, who did indeed warn and stir up the nations. Islam. Give high honors to the Moorish flag, the red flag with the green five-pointed star in the center. And we give honors to the American flag, which is the flag of our birth. Like you constantly remind the European owes you the Moors with compound interest. Give honors to Noble Sheik staff, Vanguard staff, and keep the peace, and give honors to the hills and bays. This movement belongs to you and no one else except you. Islam? Praise Allah for the demonstration that our noble chairman, Brother Sheik Rashid and Halim Bey gave. The science of statistics and demographics is very important because the math doesn't lie. It feels really good as the Grand Sheik of the temple, this temple here, Temple 19, to be able to sit in the groves for once. That's actually the first time I've done that, and since 2006, and be taught. To know you have qualified ones around you that can take the reins and guide the temple and to a destiny that's not uncertain or no unknown is a beautiful thing. Relative to the topic he was touching on, about statistics, this is a good book right here. It's entitled Demography of the, this is their language, Demography of the Black Population of the United States, an annotated bibliography with a review and essay by Jamshid A. Momini. I got this from the library right here on Cleveland Avenue, but you could probably do the Amazon thing and get it. And they just run through all the statistics relative to our community, specifically, and it's in conjunction with what the brother said. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he's reminded us time after time again. Much of the things he warned us about did not take place in his day, which made him a prophet of Allah. Prophets speak, outside their own lifetimes, which what deems them, to be a prophet. This is also something that makes them hated, amongst the masses of people, because people know when a prophet comes, there's destruction coming after that. So they think that if they kill the messenger, that the message dies, which it doesn't. So again, just to give honors to our brother for delivering that message. One more thing before I get into the divine warning that the prophet, proclaimed that all grand governors should read. On Thursday, I had a meeting. It was actually a unity luncheon that was hosted by the Nation of Islam, and present were the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, obviously the Nation of Islam. The Nawabians were present. The Shrine of the Black Madonna. There's a Christian pastor that was there. All of this roundtable discussion. And about 48 hours before, one of the sisters, one of the MGTs from the Nation of Islam, sent an email out to all of us, asking us, what we think the topics were that affect our people the most. Right? So, we send, could you send 2 to 4 items and something like that. So we all emailed them in, and then they created like an agenda, with all of those concerns on there. And there were a couple people that weren't, that weren't present. But this particular luncheon is leading up to an event on July 1st at the Doubletree Hotel in College Park that will have all these groups, plus the Native American community represented. Minister Abel Muhammad from Chicago, who's actually Mexican, but in the Nation of Islam. He'll be present representing the Mexican community and all of that. And I'll be representing the Moorish Science Temple of America here in Atlanta. But, as we were going through these concerns and everything, man, it was quite interesting because we began to realize that our concerns are the same, and we have to get to the point, because when I had announced via social media that I attended this meeting, if I could just be frank and just speak straight, I was very disappointed in Moorish Americans, some of the responses I was hearing, because you got brothers like the Black Panther Party, black really? I'm like, can you listen to what the brothers are saying first? Like, you have to get to the point where you're able to get people to appreciate your position. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is we're in the era of, we can't afford, for us to be childish in our worldview. literally while we're having these, debates and discourses about who's right, literally there are children in cages on the border.
Facts.
Right now, So to hear my people, who come from our prophet, who have a prophet sent to them like our prophet, right? Speaking so childishly, as a leader, it's disheartening. You know what I mean? Like very seldom do I, lose confidence in my people. But when I hear stuff like that, it makes me wonder, and to the point where when it's like that, I sit down and receive guidance and be inspired.
I just wanted to add on because it's how soon we forget that our children or the ancestors of our children were once in cages, even in shackles.
Demonstration.
So for us to not have that, that sympathy or that empathy for that, that's an exercise in futility, and it's an exercise in ignorance. I use the floor, family.
But thank you for that, more. This is what it is. How quickly we forget. And it's the same reason they're in those cages right now is the same condition our people are under right now. But they've deluded themselves. When your political status is in question, you find yourself in the cage. We're on the opposite end of that, same energy though, because we're getting killed in the streets left and right lawfully. When laws have been handed down now, whether if you do anything threatening an officer, you're done. You know what I'm saying? And even like the laws that they're passing state to state, they vary, but all of it leads to you being in a jail cell. Right now in the state of Georgia, you get caught driving with your phone anywhere near your hand, you're gonna get some lights behind you. No texting, no can't answer a call, nothing, right? Anything to get a case on you, right? So these times are too dire, for us to be playing anything relative to, us not being shoulder to shoulder with our people. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm clear. Act 6 is very clear about our marching orders, right? However, there's something in our Quran, chapter 25, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation, and that's inclusive of all Asiatics, right? So, we have to learn to, be diplomatic in our approach with our kindred who may not speak our language. It sounds like English, but the prophet gave us another language that we speak, right? And if you really, are sincere to what your prophet gave you, you're quite fluent, in that international law speak, right? And the effects thereof. However, if you're talking to ones that don't speak that language, you gotta be willing to hear them out, right? And you speak to them to the point where you can get a baseline of thought, right? If you take a lie detector test, they hook you up, right? And they ask you a simple question: what's your name? What's your birthday? Whatever. Simple things that you would know that you can't lie about. That develops a baseline. Then anything contrary to that, after they begin to ask you the real questions, if it varies too much from the baseline, they know it's a lie, right? So it's the same thing when you're doing diplomatic work with your people. You got to get a baseline of where their thoughts are at. Some of our people, in this round table discussion, I perceive that with some people, religion is a hot button issue. They hate it. Other people love it, stand on it. Other people, it's the economic issue. Other people, it's family. Other people, it's the separation of families and how do we get them back together, right? As a Moorish American at that table, right? And that's the key too. Moorish Americans have to be at the table, wherever the table is. If it's a political table, economic table, unity table, Moorish Americans have to be present. And you got to sit through a lot of stuff that goes against your sensibilities. But if you really are Moorish American Muslim, you have what you need to sit through that and raise that group up by way of the love that you're exhibiting to them, without browbeating, because they think that every time that anytime a Moor is in the presence of the word black, we automatically going to get in this frenzy. When you don't do that, right? At the end of the meeting, I had a sister who was a Christian, right? She was the one, ironically, that jumped out the bag on some, well, how about we just stop calling ourselves black? And I was like, here we go. And at the end of the meeting, she came over to the side. Well, brother, well, why didn't you go more? Because it's not time still. But it's here. If you want to know more, we got it for you, right? But we got to get everybody on the same page first. And she was like, I understand that. It's a strategy, but it says chess, not checkers, right? I just want to, demonstrate, our Holy Quran, the more signs to America's the front and back covers. Then I get into the divine warning. Prophet gives us the Holy Quran, the more signs of America, divinely prepared. by the noble prophet Drew Ali, by the guiding of his father, God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father, God Allah. You have the circle 7 on the front. And reflect on that circle 7 and go to Act 2 and reflect on what it says about the circle 7 there. Therein is a sign for you. The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Know yourself and your father, God Allah, that you may learn to love instead of hate. Every man needs to worship under his own vine and fig tree. The uniting of Asia. Islam, Moors?
Islam.
Moorish Science Temple of America, Noble Drew Ali founder, Chicago, Illinois, March 11, 1929. A warning from the Prophet to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitating speech while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There's been much confusion caused by members trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my orders will be of severe consequence. We offer love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet, and if they lose confidence in their prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is sending out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting the prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Drew Ali. Islam.
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 All praise is due to Allah, the highest of honors, to his holy divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, giving honors to Friday, Holy Day. This is the Friday, the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. And I give honors to the faithful who are present, because we know the sacrifice that it takes to attend your meetings and attend your meetings properly. I extend honors to my son Yadalahi Sheik Heru Ranesi-El, who was present tonight from the state of New Jersey. Came here with a migraine headache and all, but was suited and booted, ready to attend his meetings. Islam.
Islam.
Praise Allah. Moors, in closing, before we go to prayer, I'd just like to state, Moors, that there are a lot of people from the leadership side of the various different Asiatic groups that are looking at the Moors and what we have to bring to the table. You know, they look up to us, the small things that we have materially. People look, they kind of cast that aside and look at the potential, because they know the prophet we came from. They know him, right? And they have an appreciation for him. And the ethers are stirred right now relative to, you know, our culture that's been, you know, brought to us since 1913, seeping into the mainstream where, you know, even though you might not want to talk to the brother with the fez or the turban on, but you must try to turn the radio on and now it's talking about the Othello the Moor. You know what I mean? Or you go on his website, his clothing website, where he's got t-shirts with our star and crescent on it, the Moorish American star crescent, our hand press that's on the top of our divine constitution and bylaws. You see what I'm saying? Our scimitars that represent justice, our iconography, right, is in mainstream culture now, seeping out, right? So eventually, more, the day is going to come where people are going to, you know, they're going to realize that they have to have this, right? So these ones that are looking at us, you know, as far as these various different leaders and stuff like that, let us continue to represent the prophet well, because he didn't lie. Our prophet wasn't a liar. So the day he spoke on, the prophesied about is upon us, right? Relative to the destruction and our glory, relative to the wheels of industry coming to a halt and cranking back up in Asia's favor. All of that is it, right? But we have to get on the ball, right? And, you know, just be responsible for what Allah has blessed you with. Don't worry about the next man's job. Worry about what Allah has blessed you with and how you can extend the learning on that and enhance the light on that and create and demonstrate hope, which is the beacon light. Islam was?
Allahu Akbar.
حي على الصلاة.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. أكبر
حي على الصلاة
الله أكبر الله أكبر
حي على الصلاة
الله أكبر الله أكبر
حي على الصلاة.
So I rise with all praise to Allah, Father of the universe.